the ambassador's body dragged through the streets. Here's the most, this is the most infuriating thing to me. This is the anniversary of 9/11. Apparently, we didn't beef up security. The president had no answer on Univision last night. We have these attacks on our embassy. Oh, this is about a movie trailer that was released in July, movie trailer. Then they come out finally after 2 weeks of pressure and they admit, oh, yeah, it's self-evident that, yeah, this was a terror attack. Then the president goes on Univision, says, no, this was related to the movie. They can't get it straight. Do you think they're lying? Well, I mean,
yes,
I do, too.
Look, I think the president of the United States has lied to the American people, but I think he may be lying to himself. I think this president is so totally one-sided in his view of Islam. He is so misinformed. He is so willfully ignorant. If you look at his Cairo speech, which was filled with factual errors, the fact is this is a president who simply cannot face reality when it comes to people who want to kill us. Well, when I see barbarians torturing and dragging an American ambassador, I found those scenes horrifying, and I think every American should be enraged. And I don't want the commander-in-chief apologizing and talking about some stupid movie. America has the right to be a free country. America stands for freedom. We should be standing up around the world telling these people, we're not going to give in to you, and we are prepared to meet your violence with whatever effort it takes. And since these people are on film, we should hunt every one of them down.
Well, I want to know, Mr. Speaker, I would really like to know what is the president going to do about it? Because now we're spending $70,000 on an ad. I'll show this in a minute. $70,000 on an ad in Pakistan that shows our Secretary of State, our president, apologizing for the film. Now, there's going to be...
We are?
We are spending $70,000. I'll show you this in a second.
Wow.
Now, they're saying all of these things about this movie, and it's disgusting and it's despicable and we disagree with it. Well, next week in New York, the Andre Serrano picture of a crucifix submerged in his urine is coming back. By the way, some taxpayer money went as an award to this guy. And I'm wondering, are they going to speak out so passionately against a crucifix and urine? I doubt it.
Look, you have a left-wing establishment which thinks that being anti-Christian and pro-Muslim is totally appropriate. I'm tired of being lectured that I should accept Christ being immersed in urine or a statue of Mary being smeared with elephant dung, that we should put them in public museums at tax-paid expense, that we should recognize this as art. And then when some nutcase goes out and makes a stupid movie with no public funding, no public support, suddenly we're apologizing around the world and suggesting censorship of Americans on behalf of Islam. This is a totally one-sided view by our elites, not just the president, not just the Secretary of State, but all sorts of people in the news media, some of whom wrote strong columns attacking those of us who were offended by immersing Christ in urine, and are now writing strong columns suggesting that we should be censoring people who are in any way offensive to Islam. I think it's a totally one-sided betrayal of Western values.
All right, as people watch this ad that our State Department taxpayer dollars are being spent in Pakistan, and by the way, as the world continues to burn tonight, all over the Muslim world, anti-American protests, embassies being attacked, flags being burned, chanting death to America happening all over the world. So all this Muslim, quote, outreach has brought no goodwill towards the United States. But here's the United States President, the United States Secretary of State. This is the ad they're using our money to run in Pakistan to try and appeal to Islamist radicals that are protesting against us.
Since our founding, the United States has been a nation that respects all faiths. We reject all efforts to denigrate the religious beliefs of others. But there is absolutely no justification to this type of senseless violence. None.
Let me state very clearly, and I hope it is obvious, that the United States government had absolutely nothing to do with this video. We absolutely reject its content and message. America's commitment to religious tolerance goes back to the very beginning of our nation.
Are they going to say this next week about Catholics when the crucifix and Christians when the crucifix submerged in urine is going to show up?
Look, I wish they would have shown this is an administration waging war on the Catholic Church. I suspect Cardinal Dolan of New York would be thrilled if President Obama applied the same ground rule to Catholics that he's applying to Muslims. We'd love to have the Obama administration respect Catholicism, respect Judaism, respect Protestantism. But what do we get? We get attacks against the values of people in America who are Christian by a president who then uses our tax money to apologize to people who are burning our flags, storming our embassies, and as we just saw, killing the American ambassador, torturing him, apparently, according to one report. I want a president who stands up for America and who lectures the world about American values, one of which is free speech. Right. I don't want a president who apologizes to those who are killing Americans.
Pretty remarkable moment last night, Mr. Speaker, on in the Univision forum that they had, where the guy that ran on hope and change, and he's going to change Washington, change, admitted that his biggest failure is he can't change anything from the inside. And the RNC came out with an ad highlighting what he said then versus what he said last night.
In 2008, didn't candidate Barack Obama run on the idea that he could fix Washington and change the status quo?
My whole campaign has been premised from the start on the idea that we have to fundamentally change how Washington works. I'm running to finally solve problems we talk about year after year after year, to end the division. The ways of Washington must change, and they must change now, and that's why I'm running for President of the United States.
If by his own admission he hasn't accomplished that, why should we give him another chance?
I've learned some lessons over the last 4 years, and the most important lesson I've learned is that you can't change Washington from the inside. You can't change Washington from the inside.
He said he can't change Washington from the inside. He can only change it from outside. Well, we're going to give him that chance in November. This is time for a new president. I'll get the job done. We'll change Washington. We'll restore the economic strength we need to put people back to work.
Well, he can't cut the deficit in half. He can't create any shovel-ready jobs. And now he's saying he can't change it. So I guess no, we can. New campaign slogan. No, we can.
I think one of the greatest challenges for Obama if he gets reelected is the mess he's going to inherit from the current president. And I think that it's an absurdity. First of all, I think it was a voice of defeatism. What I've been saying is we've gone from yes, we can to why we couldn't. Now we're going to explaining that it's hopeless. He does parallel Jimmy Carter in a number of ways, both in foreign policy and in domestic policy. But I think the core of this campaign is very simple. If you think that economic stagnation, huge deficits, a weak foreign policy, apologizing to our opponents, utter irresponsibility on things like the Fast and Furious gun scandal, you think those things are fine, you ought to vote for Barack Obama because you'll get 4 more years of it. But if you think this is unacceptable for our children and grandchildren and dangerous for our country, then you have to vote for Mitt Romney because he's the only alternative to Barack Obama. And I think people need to understand, in the end, this is going to come down to, do you really want 4 more years of stagnation, partisanship, division, and nothing getting done in Washington? And that's sort of what he promised in the Univision forum at the University of Miami.
How do you analyze the race up to this point? You know, some people getting skittish, getting nervous. Gallup today, it's 47-47. It's going to come down to probably a handful of states, Florida, Ohio, Virginia. So if you were to, as you look at the race, where it is right now, what do you think?
I think we've just had 2 weeks of the most intensely biased media you could imagine. For example, a poll came out in Virginia that shows Obama up by 4 points, and then you evaluate the poll and realize it's probably off by 12 to 15 points in the number of Republicans, and yet it's page 1. It's a big story. You go through item after item like this. Mitt Romney says correctly that the United States should not be apologizing to those who storm our embassy. An American ambassador gets killed in a situation where he had no security, where the intelligence system did not work, where the administration has lied for 10 days. And you get 3 or 4 days the news media attacking Mitt Romney. Yeah. The bias has been as vivid as I've ever seen. Now, the lesson for the Romney campaign is very simple. This is what it's like to be a conservative in a general election. Slow the campaign down, emphasize things like an American energy independence plan, stick to your guns, offer people a very clear choice, and I still think this is a very, very winnable race. And then I'll say something from personal experience that you and I have talked about. Romney has to go into that first debate and be as tough with Obama as he was with me in Florida. He can't waltz in there. He can't be pleasant. He can't be trying to be attractive. He has got to be tough, direct, and decisive and win that first debate, in which case this is a wide open race and Obama will lose by a big margin.
And he's got to come out in the opening minutes. He can't wait.
That's exactly right.
You know, it's got to be right out of the box. I've never seen Obama deal with somebody rhetorically that hits him hard. Never. And frankly, I think he's so arrogant. I don't know if he'll be able to deal with it that well without, showing his.
Romney,
go ahead.
Romney has so much ammunition.
Really?
Because, just start with, why don't you tell the American people the truth about what happened in Benghazi? Why don't you tell the American people the truth about what happened with Fast and Furious? You can go down a list like that and spend half the debate just asking the president to tell the truth.
Yeah. All right. By the way, I did get a copy. I see your wife has written a terrific brand new Ellis the Elephant is back, and Land of the Pilgrim's Pride is coming out, and I got to be honest.
I'm very proud of Callista. It's for 4 to 8 year olds. It's for parents and grandparents to read to their grandchildren, and she did very well. The first book was a New York Times bestseller. People loved the idea of introducing young Americans to American history. Ellis takes him to the 13 colonies in this one, and I'm very proud of what Callista's been doing.
All right, we're going to look forward to having you on when the book comes out. And Mr. Speaker, thanks for being with us. Really appreciate, as always, your time. Thank you.
Thanks.